Hello, good morning. Hi, Pika. How are you doing today? I was a little bit late this morning. I guess I'm still before 6, but I was actually really early. But now I became later again because I had to stop and deal with a spider that decided that hanging out inside of one of the litter boxes was the appropriate place to hang out. Not even making a web, just literally sitting in there, which I was concerned was going to cause problems if Zilby decided to use it. Zilby, I'm over here. So I had to take care of that. And so he's downstairs in the other room now, wondering why I'm not going up and playing with him. But I'll go up later. You're currently in Jakarta Fair, feeling tired, so you're just chilling. Nice. I'm hearing Zilby run back and forth upstairs. I opened the windows, and so I think he's going from one side of the house to the other to like look out the windows, sort of see what there is to see. All right, let's see where we are. What we've got. I believe that we're on this custom responses assessment, which I think means did I create? I think I created the repo for it. I did. Okay, so we're right here. So we can do a z assessment dot get us going there. We don't have any tests yet, but that just means it'll pass. Oh, we don't even have a check yet. Let's bring that in. What was the last one we just did? We just did. What are we doing today? We are continuing to work on assessments for the Axum course that we're building. And so today we're working on custom responses. So it's going to be all about uh, let's see. So responding to custom successes, handling errors. So if I open this up, then we'll take a look at the README. And I think I have the plan in there. I think I do. Mirror API, I think, was the last one we just did. Okay, let's grab it from there. Okay, so put you in there. Check can run, and you're happy. Let's open up our README, and here we go. Okay, so in this assessment, we are verifying that the learner is going to be able to return status code and messages, the appropriate ones. So we want a mixture of well, we probably just want a standard success code with some text, a non-standard code and some text, and then a non-standard code and JSON. And I think that together covers pretty much everything you want to do. Because if you want a non-standard success code and JSON, that's like the same exact thing, I believe. I don't think you have to do anything different. So I believe this will be 3 routes that we'll have to do. Let's do this test driven. We only have this main. Oh, I probably want it. If I want test driven, let's create some tests actually here. All right, so I can label this as a test. Function, this should, we probably want 3 of them here. So this is API returns and then so custom success, error with that. Standard HTTP success code and text. So API returns standard code text. Ooh, and then these need to be, before I give a response code, this needs to be not just test, this needs to be a Tokyo test because we are doing a lot of async stuff and I don't want to have to do anything else. So I think I can get away with error on this too. Let's do that. Okay, we'll start with the base URL for the API. Once we have that, I can create the URL pretty easily with this one. I just probably want like standard with text, like all right, so that'll be the route we go to, standard with text. Okay, so we have let URL equals that. I want to make the request now, I guess, but in order to do that, we need to add request in. I also need to be focused on the window. I don't have request in here? Oh. I might need JSON for this. I'm not completely sure. We'll find out. Let's see. Okay, so I just want a standard request. I can use a get request for this, which means I can just do request get. I only need to get the client if it's a post or something that's not a get request. I will pass it in the URL. I don't necessarily think I need anything else special. So if I do that, that gives us our response. And then the very first thing is going to be asserting. Let's do now 200 is like pretty normal and good. Let's try a different status code. What are my choices? Can I actually get them out of here? Now, let's go look them up. Let's find a fun one. We can do 204 for no content. 206 for partial content. I mean, nothing like makes sense necessarily. I guess here we can do 202, accepted but non-committal. It's like, I hear you. All right, so I want response dot status and the expected status. Then what do you return? You return a status code. Can I actually get a status code here? Ooh, I can. I think it was accepted, right? Yes. Okay, so I can verify that those are the same. Why are you upset? Oh, the async keyword is missing. Right. Okay, so if I run this, nothing will work. I don't need to go to a new window. I just come up here, hit return. All right, so function refused to work. So let's go ahead and fix that. We'll need go add. Okay, so we need Axum at this time. I don't need headers. I don't know if I need anything else at this exact time. Oh, but I do want to create all the folders and files and all that stuff. Hey, stacking. Yeah. Are you asking for that question that we saw on Discord? I want to say that I did do deployment, and I think I did deployment to GitHub Pages, not to S3. And for GitHub Pages, there's some slight. I mean, so it's pretty much very similar to S3. So it's just going to serve the front end. It has Nginx taken care of for you. Everything goes to indexed. No, everything does not go to indexed HTML automatically. You have to do some funny stuff with trunk to make everything redirect to indexed HTML, but then also not redirect everything else. And then everything was fine. And then I saw Scarlett's, but it was too close to the stream, so I decided I'll respond after the stream. Unless Scarlett, unless you come here, then we can chat about it on here live, and I'll be happy to go over things. S3, if you remember correctly, you can just wildcard all the routes. Yeah, there's a policy for that where you can set up a policy to wildcard all the routes or even some of the routes. There's the best way to use S3 is in combination with something like CloudFront though, which caches everything. I noticed you said something like, "Oh, it costs you like $2 to host on S3." You can probably reduce that even more by using CloudFront. I don't think I paid a cent my for my the LMS so far, because it's all within like I'm not even on free tier in AWS anymore, but there's a hidden free tier for CloudFront, and I'm under it. Yeah, but also Scarlett's asking about where to put the server too, which is going to be the next fun question. Yeah, so my LMS, we hosted that LMS on S3. And then I set up CloudFront to do the real hosting. So the DNS, all the DNS setup is pointing to CloudFront. CloudFront pulls from S3, caches it, and then did some stuff. Yeah, and CloudFront is what was caching the indexed HTML file. And so what I actually what I actually did was I kept CloudFront caching it for the maximum amount of time, which is forever. And on when I deploy, I run a shell script in GitHub Actions that busts the cache. I'm only allowed so many of those per month before they charge me money for it. But I'm deploying so little to LMS that I'm under that. So it's like, okay, well, this is the best for me at this stage, and then later on I'll probably need to do something more. So because of that, I get ultimate cheapness for everything because all the assets, including index, including the CSS, everything is cached. Yeah, so I didn't actually fix the cache headers on that one. Both work, but if you deploy a lot, the flushing the cache can get expensive quick. Absolutely, yes. And that's the reason why it works for me at my size right now is like I'm a team of one. I know when I'm going to incur that cost is whenever I push to the main branch. And so I just don't do that very often. And now, as soon as it becomes something where it's going to cost a lot, then I have to change the strategy up and move over to it. You guys having to send all the files to every edge server in the world is expensive for Amazon. Yeah, I well, and busting the cache is not just send them to all the servers. It's like send them to all the servers right now, which is I think that's what you're really paying for is the rush job because like they can run it during off time and it's not that bad. I was actually thinking about it. There was oh who was it? There was yesterday. Yesterday we had the discussion about on Discord about how to run like side processes that are just like behind the scenes that are like doing long running things. One of the strategies is to run ECS, so entity container system. I think so. Oh, no, Elastic Container System, which is one of AWS's sort of systems where you can throw a Docker image at it and it will create a container and it will do all the fun stuff for you. What is interesting about it is that you could set it up to do a spot instance. So you can like spin up a ECS EC2 instance, tell it to run spot, and tell it to just be up all the time and running things. And then it just when it's in existence, it'll check the database for tasks to do and then run those. The spot instance tells it is like essentially you can do a combination of prepaid and then also spot, which means that you tell it only only spin up an instance for me if it's at or below this price point. They basically say like, you're bidding for a price and saying like, I will pay at most this much for it, and AWS will say, okay, here you go. Nobody else is paying for it right now, and so therefore it's cheaper. It's kind of like the stock market. Here you go. You have your EC2 container or your EC2 instance. Have fun with it, and then like 20 minutes later, it's like, well, it's busy again. Yank, and takes it away from you. But if you're running something that can handle that, then it's the cheapest way to run an EC2 instance. Ooh, I need to remember what this route was. Standard with text. Wait, that is. No, I brought in request get. That's not what I want. Axum routing get. Okay, let's do. Okay, so you're happy here. I can do the. There's the entire tracing thing too, isn't there? All right, I should set. Well, let's do bare minimum here, and then I'll add tracing in a minute. Okay, so we have this. Let's go to you. Wait, we have you. Let's go to lib. Which means I probably want. I want the config too. I guess in this one it doesn't really matter that much. I don't remember if it returns anything. I know that's async. I think it does, but I don't remember anymore. Okay, so I create my router. I need to actually start the server, which I have done this how many times? Like 5 times recently, and I still don't remember. Haven't memorized how to like set up the initial server. So, okay, so I get my router here. Right, the socket address thing. Oh, and then this is where I can get, okay, tracing subscriber. Might as well grab these things. Oh. Okay, so that's tracing subscriber. I also need tracing. And then there was one more. I guess I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so we'll start with socket address. I guess I could also initialize tracing subscriber. It was like FMT, yeah. Format init. And then that lets me do tracing debug to print out to the screen. Okay. I have my routers, that's good. Then next up is the socket address. Matt, I think I need to put this at the top. Socket address from, and then you take in a tuple, which has an array and then the port in it. So tuple array. And that's that. I could do tracing debug at this point in time. Which, that's actually, I guess we do this right now because as soon as I await this function is just sitting here forever. It's never going to get to the next line to do the debug. So I have to do the debug first. So tracing debug. Is it a, oh yeah, it is a macro. Okay, so we're listening on. Okay, and then next we have our server bind. Right, then at serve, we pass in the router into make service. And then we can await and wait. And we want to question mark that, which means you do need to have a result. Oh, and okay, it's not like that. 127.0.0.1. It's like that. Come on. Okay, so you're happy now. Now we can head into main. I could have this just return result and then question mark everything, but that won't give me proper error messages, which is unfortunate. Everything's sort of being handled, so I can just grab run. If you can find it. Of course. What's the name of this? This is Axum Run. Okay, there we go. So now we have this server listening on port 3000. I have that debug messages coming out. You think someone from the Rust team even said a result in main is just a quick, naive example? They're not showing best practices and they don't recommend it. Okay, how about this? We should be better again. Thank you. Thank you for that stacking. I hope it doesn't get too loud when that happens. Yeah, so that makes sense that it's not a best practice and they don't recommend it. The problem is that everybody started doing it because like in especially in all of the courses and tutorials, because it just makes things so easier. Why do we have to handle the errors? We just want it to crash, right? We don't want necessarily good error messages. But I have like seen some people. The game gets, oh man, I still don't really fully understand it. I need to like remind myself to just buy a cable. And then we'll find out whether or not it's the cable or if I have to replace the entire microphone. Hopefully not. Hopefully not the mic. Okay. What were we talking about? Oh, right, air handling. Yeah, so I've actually seen some people online confused about the idea of like how to bubble up the errors all the way to the top and then just handle them. Like what that means is like it can be as simple as this. It's like, okay, we've got an error and let's just print this to standard error and crash. And that's okay. That's kind of what we want. And as long as it implements report or like anything, like as long as it implements display, it's fine. Everything is going to be great. Okay, and so I just run this. So you're going good. Now if I run you as a server, right? So now we have this error, which is it expected 202. It got a 200, which is fine. Everything's fine. I do want to add in the tracing so we can see it hitting which port and everything else, but that is a different middleware, which I also forget. See, how many clicks is that? So once getting in, so it's I'm curious about this. So once I'm in the documentation, it is how many clicks to like get to the list where it says like here, this is common middleware. So it's 1, 2, and then scroll down to then it's 3 commonly used middleware. 4 to actually go into this, and we see okay, now I can see it's HTTP tower. It's tower HTTP with trace. I wonder if there's some software I can do to tell OBS to like, is there the equivalent of a gate in software for OBS where it's like if the mic gets too loud, it just shuts that down or maybe like reduces that? Okay, so you're up there. Let's head into our router again. I want to do tower HTTP trace. Trace layer. New for HTTP. There we go. A gate should stop it if it's happening before it gets to OBS. The problem is I just have my microphone directly plugged into my computer, and so OBS is the only thing that will catch this, unfortunately. There we go. Okay, so now I can see here's the request get. We're going to standard with text. And it is status 200. Okay. We're good to go. So at least we can see that information. Okay, so we're still not passing. We need to return. We need to return the correct thing, which if I remember correctly, I can return an impl return. I need to go remind myself how to do this. So I can just do it myself with just like, hey, I'm returning this thing. But I want to turn a standard non 200. Super Weasel, hello. How did I start with Rust? I began, let's see. I I started by reading the book. So it would be the Rust book. And then I did that all online on stream. So with I don't know, were any of you around for that? Or was that another era? That was before my concussion, in which I had to take a decent break from streaming too. But yeah, I basically, yeah, okay, stacking, you were there. Yeah, okay, you were there for that. There was another person who was there with you a lot and was like writing blog posts and helping out a lot too. But they're no longer watching. I haven't seen them for a while, or maybe they're no longer chatting. Um, but yeah, it was fun. Basically, we went through and we did the entire book on stream, and that's how I learned. And then immediately after the book, we started making projects, and that's the key: is read and then projects. Now, the version of the book that I read through is older. It was like 1.0 or something like that. It wasn't like it's no longer the like there's a lot of changes that have happened to the language. Oh, okay. I wonder I think I my memory of names is to the point where I can't remember his username anymore, which means that I can't give him credit. So, I'm so sorry for that if you're watching and lurking. But I super, super, super appreciate all of the people that were hanging out that time, helping out so much. I'm also watching a ant that's hanging out on the wall, just crawling in a random walk pattern. Okay. But does that answer your question, Super Weasel? Basically the book. Like that's what I would recommend. And then what helped with me a lot, and it's sort of like cheating in a way, is I do it on stream and then people come and help me out whenever I'm making silly mistakes. That means that I had like a network already built in for this. For you, I would recommend finding people who are either know Rust or learning Rust also, and like learning with them. And that could be an online community, it can be an in-person community, whatever, like some way to just chat about it. So like if you want, our Discord is open and you can just ask questions about any things that you found. I did not see the new memory layout feature in Rust Analyzer. You're fearful that reading the book just wastes your time. You started with 1 or 2 hours documentation, then head into a simple implementation for Hangman in the terminal. Um, how was that? Like the reason why most people recommend starting with the book is because the paradigm of programming with Rust is just subtly different than programming with other applications, with other programming languages. Hi Zobi, you here to give Rust advice? Are you gonna jump up there, or are you gonna? Okay, you're just gonna walk around out of camera sight. Cool. Um, yeah. So what was told to me is that the first there's like a couple different breakpoints in the book that I would recommend. I would say like chapters like 4 to 10, if it's still laid out in the same way, would be where to go. Do you have a look at repos and tell what you think, or don't you do this at all? I mean, I generally don't do that on stream, but that's mostly because it just takes too much time and I'm not really sure I'm very good at it. You cheated and used a macro. Which macro did you use? And also, knowing that you have Java experience helps a lot. So the way I translate that in mind is, okay, so you know high level language programming really well. You know object oriented programming according to Java, and um, you know memory management with the garbage compiler. That's like what that tells me. If that's wrong and there's more, please let me know. Macro use external create text IO. You don't need to use the macro use thing anymore. You don't need to use the macro use thing anymore. You can just start using it anymore. Uh, that was a change in the language. I guess okay. Next question. In your cargo.toml, how are you spinning up everything? Are you using cargo? So you can do like cargo new to spin up like a new server or a new whatever, new application. Uh and are you using Rust up to manage the Rust version? Yes, you're using cargo. Okay, perfect. Um so I have the 2021 edition here installed in the package, and this, as long as I'm using like 2018 and above, I don't believe I need that extern macro at all. The macro use extern create. Also, Rust Analyzer, as Stacking just mentioned, Rust Analyzer is just amazing. Here, let me show you an example of this. If I come over here to this code, I'm not really haven't really done anything yet with this. I want to use, let's say, I want to create a hash map, let's say. So it's like, okay, let my hash map equals Rust Analyzer is doing this for me, where I can pull this in and it auto imports for me. And so you're using VS Code, if you're using, I'm using Helix here, but any of the text editors, as long as there's some kind of modern auto completion sort of system for that, it will handle it for you. And it works because then you can just start writing the macro you want to use, and it'll import that macro for you, and potentially, hopefully, import all of the whatever traits you need too. Sometimes there's a problem where like it doesn't do it and it gets all red. Yeah, let's do this. It shows you like, hey, this is not working. And so I just come over here and do a code actions and tell it, okay, fine, import it, and it just does it for it. Yeah, I do remember they remove, because I had a lot of trouble with like, okay, when do I need to use the extern crate? And then I used it for a long time because that's just what I learned, and then eventually got like beaten out of me. It's like, stop doing that. It's not helpful. Uh, and yeah, so I eventually stopped. But yeah, okay. So if you're using all of those tools, Super Weasel, that gets you set up to be able to like use Rust, like use all the macros, especially ones that are provided for you. That's perfectly fine. In fact, it is recommended. If you're doing a command line application and you want to like parse through a whole bunch of like options and arguments and everything else, you might want to use something like clap, which is a crate that you can find on crates.io. that would allow you to easily parse through that, like the CLI stuff. Zilby went away too. But yeah, as you're going through your journey, and if you have any questions, just ask them away in general, and we'll do our best to answer. The course help channel is there really for in case you're taking, like, if you're going through one of the courses that I've created, that is where you'll see like people asking for like help with working through those. But I don't have a CLI app course. All right. What was I doing? Right. We were looking through responses. So um, what we're working on right now is we are working on a course for a web server. And this is going to be an assessment for the web server, and I need to remember how to do a response. Where was that? That was, okay, so responses. Anything that implements into response can be returned from handler. So I probably want to just return impl into response, right? So if I do, thank you, Super Wheels. I'll do my little. Well, here I could just do that now. I've got it. I've got it open in the side window. All right. And if I need the status code, I can return a tuple. I'm trying to think, like, should I do into response like this? Should I implement that and then return a tuple with status code accepted, and then we can do like the text of hello, or like, I don't know, accepted. Oh, I meant to do. I guess it has to be dime, right? Oh, it doesn't have a size of compile time. Okay, so if I then return, this is going to be a status code, then a static stir. I mean, that works. Okay, so that passes that test. I mean, I guess that works. Yeah. Oh, I could create. Yeah, I could create a. I could create a struct that returns that it itself impulse into response. I'm not sure I want to do that for this one. So maybe we just do this. Is like this is what we expect. So we just say, hey, this is that. And if we go into our test, it's like, okay, that gives us a response. And then let's get the text out of the body too. We let okay, so what are you gonna be? You're gonna be let's do um, expected response like that, and then we'll do an assert equal response text and expected text. Failed, but only because the left doesn't equal right, so I want expected response instead of what I had there with accepted. Okay, so come here and we'll just say expected response. Okay, so that's passing. That is the first. If you look at this, that is route responds with standard HTTP success code and a text. That's fine. It's then we want an error one. Okay. I don't want that checkout. Oh, I need to do the death stage, don't I? Okay, there we go for that. And then I want check.out to be added to here. All right, so this is first of the routes. I guess like created. Naming things is hard. This is going to be success standard code plus text. And how are you doing, check? Are you happy? And just to make sure that check is what I think it is. Yeah, we have Clippy with dewarnings. Oh, that's another thing. Super Weasel. If you want, there are two linters that Rust has. So there's RLS. Wait, no, not RLS. There's cargo check, which comes with Rust, and that's probably what your editor is using. And that's great. That's good. But there is Clippy too, which is it is a thing. It is basically as strict as you could possibly get with a linter type thing. And so I have that turned on here, and then in my check here, I'm saying like, okay, turn every warning that it has into a error. But it'll basically, if you write out a function, let's say you write a like a really simple loop, but you can refactor that into like some other system, it'll do that for you. You could just do like go over a warning, code action, and it's like, oh yeah, just like turn this into something else. Or you write like a match statement. It's like this could be an if let, and it will do that for you. It's really good, and it's really great for discovering a better way of doing something when you only know what the book told you, for example. Okay, so you're all happy. Nothing's changing. Okay, so let's write some documentation for that. Okay, so standard with text. This is update this route handler. Okay, so far I think the only ones that we'll need to do is the route handlers themselves. Okay. What is next? Non-standard HTTP error code and a text. Okay, so this is going to be, well, here, let's do this. I like to create these on their own. We'll go to the router, use this in. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I was meaning to do this test driven in a test driven way, but I forgot. Okay, let's try this again. Tokyo test async functions, the API returns non non-standard code with text. Okay. API returns non-standard code with text. What does this mean? So our URL, okay, that's gonna be same as what we had before. So we're gonna use the format macro. It's too bad that Rust Analyzer doesn't know how to autocomplete that. That'd be nice. Let's do non-standard text. Okay, let's get. I guess we'll get the status code out of this. So status code equals response dot status Okay, so this is a non-standard. Looking at MDN, that ends at 511. So as long as I'm below 5, let's go all the way up to the top. Let's do 599. So I want you to be 599. I'm going to assert equal. Now, do you implement? You do. Okay. So it's there implementate the trait equal is just a U16, and that's going to be fine. Now, if I run you, yeah, okay, there we go. Great. We have a 404 and it should be a 599. All right, let's fix that. Okay, now I got a 200 and it's supposed to be 599. Now, if I were to actually do this in like the hostile dev sort of pattern, then I would just return a status code here. Which, why can't you find that? So sometimes Rust Analyzer is, I don't know, doesn't like show me the right status code. I don't know where it's searching. It's searching all the wrong places. It's where is it? It's in the response, right? Okay, so it's not in response. Oh, it's in HTTP, isn't it? HTTP status code. There we go. And I want to turn. Ooh, I wonder. Ooh. Well, let's find out. Let's find out how this is gonna work. I want to return 599. That's not gonna work. Expected status code. I think I'm gonna have to return a tuple, aren't I? I don't think I can do like status code. From U16 599. Can I do that? Oh, that's a result. Oh, okay. So it's a result. You're probably going to yell at me, I bet. I'm really curious. The function validates the correctness of the supplied U16. It must be greater or equal to 100 and less than 1000. Oh, but it can be whatever I want. So it can be non-standard. Okay, cool. However, it is an error message, which means I need to handle this. I could unwrap this. I could expect it, but I kind of want to show in a solution that you can handle this in a better way, maybe. So I want to create this, and if it's not that, I want it. Okay, so let's do, okay, from U16. I don't want like map error or anything. Can I return results from this? I don't remember if I can return a result from non-standard error from a route handler. If I can, and then that result, no, it has to return some kind of response. Oh, but I could do that. So it's a normal result with the thing that I want or an error. Okay. So let's do result. The thing that I want is going to be a status code. That's interesting. It's a little snippet that's provided to me by somewhere. Okay, so if you're here like that, I want to then probably map the error. And I almost don't care what this is. Let's just make this a 500. So wait, are you error? You're an invalid status code, or is that just getting confused because that knows what it's supposed to be? So I want you to be status code internal server error. Do that, and then I want to return question mark u, and then return the OK with this one. Couldn't confirm the error to invalid status code. Oh, okay. So hold on. This probably just needs to be status code. Cool. None of, okay, I could do the map error. I don't need the question mark. I don't need the OK around it. Everything's fine because I just turned it into a result that now returns what I expected to. And then Clippy told me, hey, stop doing that. Make it better. So if I do this, then anybody who's looking at the solution will see, oh man, that's a better way for me to do it. Okay, let's head back into assessment. Okay, so we have our expected status code. You're working like that, and then I want our text out of this too. So that our text. What should this be? This should be non. I'm a non-standard error. Okay, and so now if I want to return a text with this, we're going to match around that tuple, and this will be a static start. Okay, so then to return you, I want, okay, so this needs to be a tuple. That changes things again. So now I need this to be an okay. So that way I can go all the way back. Make that a tuple. And put in our message here. Which means that you need to be question mark. Okay, tests are passing. Okay, so change this handler to return a okay. So there's that. We'll eventually remove you. How about you? Are you happy? Everybody's happy. Superkeeper, hello. How are you doing today? Non-standard HTTP error code and JSON now. Okay. Now I'm going to remember to do it with a test first. Turns non-standard code with JSON. You're running flaky tests for the millionth time. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I thought the Fuels Badman actually was a emote. Did that change, or is it just that I don't have the thing set up? Oh, yeah, I don't have either of those extensions set up. So, yeah, that makes sense. That's just a that's not an extension that I put into Twitch, right? That's just a browser extension that replaces those, if I remember correctly. I haven't really looked into it very much. Okay, yeah. So it's just a standard browser. Um, I use I tend to use Safari for the chat as the browser, so that frees me up to use uh the Firefoxes for like actual work usage over here. So I don't even know. Do they have an extension? Do they have that extensions for Safari? Safari is the only like non-standard extension browser on the market now, and it's kind of stupid. All right, we did 599. Let's try just 99 this time. That's fine. Okay, so the test should work and it should fail successfully. All right, we got a 404 and we should get a 99. Well, let's make that pass. That write everything? Yeah, it's not showing it need to write everything. So if I do WA, oh yeah, that is. WA writes all. Nice. Okay, so I guess to begin with just the set, we'll just do the status code to begin with, like the previous one. Wait, how did I do this already? Oh, it's test code from U16. That's what it was. Okay, there we go. From U16, 99. Then we can map the error. I don't even care what you are. Okay, then that should now left is still 404. Oh, I missed that. Um, I'm attempting to get to non-standard with JSON. Non-standard with oh, that would do it. Ooh, I got a 500 error. So it failed to convert, it failed to create the status code. What? Okay. Well, fine then. I guess we'll need to get that error. Oh, I can use like tracing debug, right? Let's see, tracing. What was it? Tracing debug? I thought it was tracing. Oh, yeah, tracing debug like that. Okay, so tracing debug, and then I want error. Let's see what that is. Can you tell me? No. Okay. Let's try this. I want the debug error. So error um, creating custom error. Okay, it likes that. So we should now see this up here. Do you see the error? I don't see the error. So I'm getting 500 back from this. I'm attempting to return 99, but that's not working. This isn't debugging out the error. That is what I'm supposed to do, right? Yeah, I can just do tracing debug. And did I actually get that? Yeah, server listening on. Okay, so I'm getting that. Ooh, which makes me wonder maybe it's not even getting to that point in the code. What if I just do this? No, okay, so that's not running. Or maybe it's tracing. I don't really understand tracing. Let's try a debug. Oh, there's the testing. Okay. So, here. Running non-standard error with, oh, here it is. Okay. Invalid status code. So error created. For some reason, I thought the message was going to be over here, but it's way over here on the right. So we got an error created custom error invalid status code. Well, okay. Yeah. Sure. I get what you're saying, but that's kind of the point. Uh, didn't they have like an example of this? Look, their example is literally status code from U1699. And then assert the error. Well, I mean, so I'm doing an assert in the other area. What I'm confused about is that why does this return a result with an error and an invalid status code? What did I do differently over here? So non-standard error with text. Yeah, I did from U16 5. Oh, it needs to be above 100. It needs to be above 100. That's what it is. So I need to do like another 500. So hold on, let's do that. Let's change our test. We did 599 last time. Let's do 588. Okay, so 588. We're expecting that now. There. Okay, so that's passing. That's passing. Okay. So then with you, we're getting. We have the status code and then JSON. What do I want to have returned as JSON? Maybe I don't want it to be anything random or anything interesting like that. I'm okay if they use the JSON macro. A JSON object. Okay, so let's create like what a JSON object should be here. Ooh, I need cert. There you go. Come on. You know how to do this. It apparently doesn't know how to do it without me asking it to do it. Return 200 with error true, the classic. The you know what's really ironic is that that's been making a comeback with GraphQL, with some other types of servers, because the argument for it, and I'm sort of like iffy on this a little bit. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but the argument is that the request succeeds, but the error was in some other part. So therefore, it's like it almost feels like you're playing semantics with your API server, where it's like, well, the request succeeded. It's not my problem that the database had an issue. It's like, well, yes, it kind of is your problem. Is it considered good practice to put structs and their impl blocks into an own file? And if so, how do you import it? It depends. If you look at the source code of different things, let's see if we can find uh how about status code? Can we find status code? So I want to go to definition. So you can see here status code as a struct is implemented just right here. And then there's another struct right next to it. And so like this is it's not its own file, and that's probably perfectly fine. Like these are two related to each other, and like the impl block to status code is like after the implementation of invalid status code. It's like that. It's interesting. And then how to import? Yeah, that Supercuber has it right. You use the pub keyword. So you see what I'm doing here with my oh, actually no, not here. Let's go to my lib. See what I'm doing here? I have mod, and so mod is telling me that I want a module. So that's I have another file somewhere that I want to import in. And then in this case, the file is a folder named router with a mod.rs inside of it, but it could also just be a router.rs file next to it. So this is not like Java, where your classes all have to have their own files with the name of the class being exactly the name of the file. You don't have to worry about that at all. Rust is very loosey goosey as to what you want to do. Um, Big thing though is, and I've had somebody did ask me about this one, and I did look into it. While you can do your impl in a different file than you did your struct declaration, I wouldn't recommend it. There's some weirdness that you run into that you probably just don't want to have to deal with ever. So if you're going to have an impl block, just put it in the same file as your struct uh, implementation. All right, my JSON error. What's going to be in here? We want a probably let's do like a code that could be like a U16. We can have a message, which is I'll just have that be a string. Uh, Whenever that's usually all I need when I do errors back from an API. Do any of you have any more things that you sometimes like pass in from your APIs? This is usually all you need. So if I do that, now I want to convert this. So we're going to do Oh, and I can't even do JSON here. I have to add that into the request. Okay, so did I not bring Serde JSON in? Maybe I didn't. You like the error to be an enum. So you have like a code and a message in order from like position one and oh, an enum. Never mind. I was thinking tuple for some reason. Um, I can I can see that for like within Rust, but if you're responding with an API across HTTP, an enum doesn't really mean anything anymore because you lose all the type systems. Then it's just a string, right? Because what's going to happen is, and it's all behind the scenes for most of us. Uh, request is going to turn this JSON into, it's going to serialize it into a string, and it's going to send that JSON as a string, and then deserialize it back into a JSON object. And so let's say JavaScript is reading this. It's going to get this as just an object, and then you can read the code and a message inside of it. When serialize it, you transfer it to something like code plus message. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I usually do it as just an object with its own code and a message. I I feel that it's easier to handle in the front end. Your way would probably be easier to handle in the API. I'm gonna stay with this way because I like it more, and that's what I do. It's gonna be one of these like, I'm not sold on the enum yet. Maybe we'll try it one of the times, and I'll change my mind. Okay. Okay. So you're really unhappy. You're not in response. I got the code that should not have consumed the response. So what am I missing? I have started JSON as part of request. Oh, I just need JSON. Okay, let's try this again. So if I do dot, there we go. Now we can do dot JSON. I have to tell it what type it's going to be. So this is going to be a JSON error. We await, and then question mark you. There we go. Okay, so now I want to, I can also implement partial equal. And I can say let expected JSON error. So let's say code in this case, you're just a non-standard code. Now this could be an application code, right? It doesn't have to be the same thing. doesn't have to be the same code as an HTTP status code. This could be where we go wild and we just say, hey, it's code 1, whatever that means to your application. So I'll do that just to sort of like hammer that point in. And then we have a message, and that's going to be, I want you to be maybe like there was an error in the server. Oh, I need to turn that into a string. So I do that, and we'll assert equal. Okay, so error attempting to parse the JSON. It's not the best error message here, but that's what I'm reading from this. Is like we're getting an error from this question mark right here. So we need to now return some kind of JSON for this. I can do that exactly like there, but I don't know if I want to do that. I think I want to create an error. Ooh, I probably want to do this as, if I want to show off and like you can see how you can do this. Let's create an error. Let's create an error file, and this will be a shared error object that we can create and return. And so in this case, yeah, I want to turn something else. So hold on. So we're in a router here. I want almost church like an error, like a JSON error. I'm not exactly sure the best place to put this, so I'm going to put it out here. Is it serialized with capital S? Was that what my problem was? Serialize. Why can't you find that? Let's see. Anything else? Let's put a debug on it in case we want to. We'll have our code. All right, this is over engineering for this, but I think it's gonna be closer to what you want in a real one, where you might want a builder pattern for this, but I think also we could just implement a new for it. So pull. So if we pass in a code, we use 16. Because like if I really want to get clever with this, what I'd probably do is say code is actually going to be a status code. This is actually a status code. Why are you like constantly finding the wrong one? Nope, not that. I want that. Okay, so status code. Then in this case, I can have like an override for the status code. That would be a builder pattern. So if I do new, you're gonna yell at me about default, but it's okay. You'll build it out for me. So self, and then we'll just do let's implement default for this. I wonder if status code has a default. Oh, deserialize is not satisfied for this. Oh, okay. Uh, wait. Okay, I am not going to deserialize then. This only serial. Oh no. Code also doesn't implement serialize. Okay, fine. You're gonna be U16. That makes you happy. I'm gonna use that status code though. So then, okay, let's do a little bit of a builder pattern, just a teeny tiny builder pattern. We'll have a function. I want set the code. Now, when I'm creating this, I think I do want a mute self on this. I think so. Mute self, and we want the new code, which is going to be a status code. I'm going to return mute self. I'm going to do self.code is going to be equal to code dot. What can I do? As U16. Now, for something like a message, I don't want to only take in a string. I want to take in anything. So we can do something that implements into string. So impl into a string. Okay. And so that gives me this JSON error. And then I want to implement into response for this. Right? I want to implement into response for JSON error. Which is this Axum response, which I think at this point in time I can just do whatever I want. So I want you to be the tuple now, right? I want to return a tuple of self.code, and then oh no, that's something different. Hold on, I may not want to do that. Let me go back into this. Okay, I want to turn a result with a status code and some JSON. Let's see. I want this to be the tuple here. And then this is going to be the JSON, the JSON error. That's the data we're passing back. Okay. All right, so okay, so if I do new, we start adding in. So code, I want you to be 588. No, code is going to be 1. And then I want the message to be, I forgot what the message is supposed to be. Something. That gives me this mute reference to JSON error. I could probably do something like a build or like create at the very end, which would then just clone that and turn it into the JSON error. But I'm not going to worry about it too much. It might just work for what I need to do it right now. But it is a little bit odd, isn't it? If I implement clone and copy, can I do copy on a string type? I don't remember if that works. No, I can't do copy on a string type. So then let's do pub function build. That takes in a reference to self. We're going to turn a self. And I want self.clone. What are you upset about? Yes, I get it. Method defined here. Oh, it's this thing right here. Oh, it's one of these things. Okay. That message, and I want to build. What are you upset about? Arguments to this are incorrect. You take a status code. That's why. So I want this status code here. I want here now. Oh, then yeah, hold on. I didn't think that through very much. If I want this to be a complete different thing, I don't want this to be a status code at all. I want this just to be a U16. Ooh, you threw together your idea. Let's take a look at it. This is for your serialized, like your error message, right? API error. Okay, so you have your error, cannot connect to the database. Okay, so you have a standard internal error from this error. So yeah, then you give like 1 and 2, things like that. Okay, so you attempt to log in, but you're always going to be told, nope, you're not allowed to log in. Okay, yeah. So this is what I was thinking. In the end, this is what I'm building here. Is this part, which is the creating the error in a code, and then sending it up. So okay, I think we're on the same mind page. I think we got confused about where the customized stuff was, right? So this is still going to be a JSON object with the error as one key and the code as another key. And then we can see this code to error invalid user. And I think that's going to be very similar to what I have. Because over here we have code is going to be like 2, 1, something like that. Message, whatever we put in. Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking that this would be a struct that you could return from a call to something else, right? So if you're calling your database code and you're saying, "Hey, can I connect into the database, please?" It can return a JSON error instead of a like anything else. But I could see that. I can go back and forth with that. Okay, so I have this JSON error there. All right. So now we have fun stuff. So we have let our status code equals to you. The code that produces the error only contains the data that changes between errors. That's true too. Yeah, that's also nice. I've been going back and forth a lot with this error and creating a standard error, like a centralized error enum. I I sort of feel that creates a little bit too tightly coupled code recently. Sort of like my entire recent thoughts on all this is that if like those things change, then everything else needs to change too. And I don't really like that too much. And so I've actually been going back to just bailing with a lot of things on my own code, or creating little one-off errors where I can have like a centralized error object, but it needs to be way more generic than something that's like specifically knows what all the errors are. And then if it's a super generic error, then what's the point almost? It's like, I don't know. No, I've checked out anyhow. I just don't really know how much it helps. Uh Maybe that's the wrong words. I don't know if I like the pattern of like the centralized error. So usually what I use is either anyhow or error, and then I use bail. And they have a bail macro which allows me to create an actual error with a message in it. And I don't have a code necessarily because that code is going to be more of like an application code at the very last second. And I like that a little bit more usually. All right, let's let's do our status code, and then this will be the JSON error. Return that. Okay, that makes you happy. No, does not make you happy. Lots of errors still. Future results, JSON error, handler, something is not satisfied. Okay, hold on. What did I do wrong here? So I'm returning a result. I'm not returning a weird result. Just normal result with status code and oh, this can't be JSON error like that. It has to be. Hold on. It has to be JSON like that. There you go. Okay. Now you're happy. We have okay. So our left versus right doesn't match. We need not something, but this is gonna be there was an error in the server. Now it passes. Okay. All right, so update this or change this route handler. I don't know how like I get Zilby hair just like in my mouth at random times. He's shedding, so like his hair is just like floating through the air sometimes. I need to like brush him more often. Okay, so change this route handler to return a custom error status code of 588 and a JSON object looks like do you know if there's a setting I can do in Helix to make it auto put in these type of comments for me? That'd be really nice, so I don't have to like constantly type them in. But okay, so I want JSON. Okay, so what is it gonna look like? This is gonna look like we have a code with a one. Okay, so if I do that, that works there. Then everything is still happy. You're still passing. How about you? Clippy is not happy. Okay, so I have some Clippy errors. Don't need status code. Oh, that was everything. Now Clippy is happy. Everything's passing. We're good to go. Okay, so this is non-standard error with JSON. Okay. Let's see, what else do I need to throw into the maybe instructions? I should create like a I should create like a generic instructions thing for this. That might be nice. Okay, so this will be update the three route handlers to return um to return custom status codes. Let's see. Updated 3 route handlers. One requires a standard status code with a message, and the other require a non-standard status code with text and JSON. Okay, so if I do that, that's happy. Let's go update. Okay, so you're happy. JSON error. So what I want to do is I want to remove JSON error as a page. This will be interesting. So I want buffer close. So buffer close. Oh, which I could do is BC. So I'll remove JSON error, which means I need to go to lib, remove view. We create, oh yeah, create library, that's fine. Okay, router mod, I don't need you, so we'll do a close for you. I think you're okay here. Wait a second. What am I doing? I'm deleting all this stuff when I didn't need to. I didn't create the branch yet, did I? Oops. Hi, Zilby. Are you here to remind me that I'm supposed to create the branch before I start deleting all my code? Let's do that. Let's do get ooh, is it restore? Is it What's up? Hi. Okay. Now all our stuff's back. All right. So if I come back to, oh, there's like a reload, right? Oh, there's a reload all. Reload all. There you go. All tests are passing. Great. Let's do a get commit for the README. So instructions added. It's at this point in time, do a branch. I guess I could check this out and then I'll push it up too. So now I can delete all of this stuff. Okay, so all right. I want to get rid of you. And I think that's the only thing I need to get rid of in here. So right, and then buffer close. This can be a buffer close. We're not gonna do you, and then okay. So very, very simple file here. Close you. What are you? Okay, the assessment, it's okay, this is the test. We're gonna keep you the same. So you're this is inside of Axum. I don't need you. Okay, router. So don't want to pull you in. Get rid of all of you. Center with text. Okay, so you're also removing all of this stuff. Okay, check. Definitely not updating you. Get ignore. Okay with that. Tomo. Okay with that. Main, you're okay. All right, and then that was it for everything. Reset for taking the assessment. Like ready to be taken. And we'll push that up. Okay, so now I have a solution pushed up and I have the actual like assessment up and ready, and then everything should completely fall down and fail here. So if I run check, it'll show, hey, test not passing. Not cool. Which means we can come back to this and say, hey, custom responses. We're good there. All right. Let's see. Want to set that up. That's all good. Zilby's been meow. Zilby wandered back upstairs. I have no idea what he wants. He's probably upset at me because I only gave him a little bit, like a quarter of a can of food, and he's used to getting a third of a can of food, so he's probably hungry. I don't think I necessarily need. We just push that all up. All right. We'll probably work on this tomorrow. Um, but it's 8:25. I have like 15 or so minutes until I have to start getting ready for work. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sort of end now. We just pushed all that stuff up, so we're good to go there. And then that's all I've got here. So let's go ahead and end it. Everybody, thank you for hanging out today. We got our custom responses done. We pretty much got we started yesterday by like writing out defining what that was, but we got it all done today, which is great. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means a shorter stream for me. So I'll be here like normal at 6 a.m., but then I end around 6:45. So it's only like a 45-minute or so stream. We'll be most likely starting on this passing state into route handlers. So I'm not exactly sure what that assessment's going to look like. We're going to figure it out. Or maybe we'll write a maybe we'll spend our time and just write a template for some of the things. That might be nice too. So, anyways, thank you again for hanging out. I hope that you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you next time. Bye.